Welcome to Review Nation. Today guys, we are reviewing Seventh Wonder's Mercy Falls, and all I can say, it is a very good album. Although it's got its positives and negatives on this album, it's still a very cohesive album, and there are many elements of surprises. There is so much to talk about, because not only that you have to listen to this album once, twice, 3 times, you have to listen to this album multiple times to digest what the story is actually about. And in this review, I'm going to give you a breakdown of what I thought about Mercy Falls by Seventh Wonder. You could say this is Seventh Wonder's magnum opus, but how did I feel about this album at first listen? My first initial listen, I was a little bit underwhelmed because I didn't really know what was going on. Certainly there was some proggy elements, some awesome moments, and some really nice guitar solos, but you also had Tommy conveying quite a lot of emotion throughout this album. Tommy's vocals are just absolutely fantastic, and you can really appreciate his overall dominance throughout this album. But what I am trying to understand with my first initial listen was the actual story. At first I said, let's listen to it sonically, and then in the second, third, and fourth listen, let's try to understand what the story is about. So it took me a long time to figure out what this story is about. We'll talk about the story later on, but let's talk about the overall production of this album. The overall production of this album is absolutely amazing. It is. I just love the prominent bass throughout some of these songs, especially throughout Unbreakable. Really nice proggy elements throughout this song, and especially got nice guitar solos. I really enjoy the overall dominance of Tommy's vocals throughout some of these songs, and how much emotion he conveys throughout the whole mix of the album is just really good. He's got that atmospheric vibe, especially throughout Going Back in Time, Fall in Line, and Break the Silence. Got that awesome feeling, and overall the drums on this album are just absolutely magnificent. The story of this album, it's a concept album, very similar to magnum opuses like Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime, and Metropolis Part 2 Scenes from a Memory by Dream Theater. And it's one of these stories that is quite complicated. It is very complicated to understand what the actual story is about. I look online as well to try and confirm what I thought about this story, but again, a lot of people have different opinions of what this story is about. This is what I think this story is about. You have an individual that is in a car crash. We don't know the parallel lines of what actually caused this car crash yet. Throughout songs like A New Beginning and There and Back, you get some really nice instrumental elements. You get a nice dialogue. So we have an individual that's involved in a car crash. He then falls into comatose state. Now within his comatose state, he's apparently creating a dystopian world or something like that in his mind, creating a town called Mercy Falls. This is a really tricky part because this story goes in and out of comatose state and in and out of reality and back to reality. So there are very tricky moments throughout this album. But what I'm getting is that this person, this individual that's involved in a car crash, now in a comatose state, has now entered Mercy Falls. And the Mercy Falls people, the townspeople, welcome him. But they're not sure about this woman that is in this house. Now the person that is in the coma, that is creating this imaginary world, is wondering, who is this woman? He's invited to stay Mercy Falls until he sorts his shit out. There is ongoing strong evidence that this woman, this mysterious woman, may be this person's mother. So that's what I was getting from the Mercy Falls storyline. Within this concept of the story, you have this son. You have his son, which is trying to save his father. That's the father that was involved in the car crash, and now he's in that coma. We don't really hear much about his wife. The wife is more on the boundaries, but the wife comes in really later on in the story. So as he's in that comatose state, the doctor says we need a bone marrow transplant, but the mother is reluctant for the son to give the marrow to his father, because there's something going on within this story. So throughout the story, the mother becomes an alcoholic. She falls deep into depression. We're talking about this individual that is in this coma state, probably weeks on weeks. So the son forges his mother's signature, and that allows the bone marrow transplant to begin. After the father in Mercy Falls realizes that the woman is actually his mother, it comes to fruition that he is ready to get out of Mercy Falls. because what happens during Mercy Falls is there's a huge storm that comes all prepared, and it's very detailed. I could go on and on and on about this story. I could go on for another half hour about this story, but we'll cut this story short. And it's very detailed, the story, but there is a strong relationship between the son and father. And now the doctor approaches the wife whose husband's in that comatose state, who is battling within Mercy Falls, and says to her that the bone marrow didn't work. So why didn't it work? So we soon to realize that the bone marrow was about to work as she pulls the plug and he dies. So a really interesting story overall. The father discovered that actually his lover had an affair and that his son is not really a son. And that is the overall moral of the story. It took me a while to figure out what the story is about. There are so many different meanings, so many interpretations. So now let's talk about the music itself. This is what you're there for. Okay, so it starts off with New Beginning. A new beginning, very eerie, atmospheric tone, and just the overall build up, and it gets you in a scene with this individual was driving, and a car crash occurs, and it comes into the new beginning. A new beginning is a really nice instrumental, you get some really nice keyboard solos along with galloping drums. Those galloping drums incorporate those nice time signatures throughout the song. Get some more talking, and you get some nice violin moments, some nice symphonic elements throughout this particular song. And you have the doctor saying to the wife that he's in a comatose state and he's not going to be out for a while, and she's pretending to cry because she's a total fucking hypocrite. She's the one that actually caused this accident all along, which is really making me pissed off, until you realize the final twist that the actual wife actually killed him by pulling the plug. It really pisses you off, this story. It does, especially the wife's perspective of things.
But you have to give me a sign that you can hear me, that you're still in there. The doctors are losing hope.
Goes on the Welcome to Mercy Falls. I really fucking love this song. It's a great song. Really love the overall drums. The drums are fantastic. There are nice time signatures, nice elements of surprise, and you get a really nice soaring chorus. This album gets some really nice moments, especially some really nice melodic moments. Another guitar solo which is absolutely fantastic, gets another keyboard solo. Welcome to Mercy Falls is quite a progressive song and leads on to Unbreakable. You get a nice crescendo moment, really nice crescendo moment, nice acoustic guitar that bleeds into the heavier elements throughout the 4th and 3 minute mark. The 4th and 3 minute mark concludes with Tommy's soaring vocals, and you also get a really nice prominent bass section throughout this song that really encapsulates. Nice piano melody as well, and the build up of the song is evident once you get to the end. But I really like this song overall. And Unbreakable will be about him at Mercy Falls meeting his mother, not really knowing it's his mother. That's what I was getting from this song. I have no idea. I actually have no idea what the actual concept of the story is about. I try to figure it out, but again, there are so many blurry lines within this album. On to Tears for a Father, a very nice melodic song, some really nice moments, nice ballad, acoustic sections. Tommy's vocals are absolutely exceptional, and you can really appreciate the overall tone in his voice. Don't wanna play another day without you. Then it goes to A Day Away, which overall is telling the story about the son himself and how maybe he might save his father throughout the bone marrow transplant or something like that. But the overall lyrics are really strong, and I just feel that while the son is actually talking to his father, I feel like his father is actually listening, and this is going to enhance the events of what is happening on Mercy Falls. So stay away from the Then you get Paradise, which is a really good song. I love the overall time signatures throughout the song and awesome drum fills as well. The fills are amazing in this. Tommy's vocals are really good as well, dynamic in range, but he gets those high tones exceptionally well. He's got an falsetto that is out of this world I absolutely love. You have a nice guitar solo as well. Like most of these songs have amazing guitar solos throughout. In Paradise would ideally mean this individual that is Mercy Falls, that is in that comatose state, is trying to figure out whether this woman is his mother or not. And this is the overall moral of the story, where maybe he's having an epiphany. The mother is actually telling him that, you know what? Your wife is actually a hypocrite. That's all I'm getting from this album. So then it leads on to Fall in Line, where that storm is approaching for Mercy Falls, and we are getting some elements close to doomy elements. Really strong orchestral feels, especially by the keyboard. We get some really nice bass moments as well, and that guitar, those guitar licks, those riffs are absolutely amazing. And Tommy's vocals are again fantastic. I really love the dominance within his vocals throughout this song. Get a nice guitar solo as well, a nice keyboard solo, and you get the overall mix of surprise. It's a long song, but it's not as long as the next song, which is Break the Silence, which is a very hard song to interpret, but it's one. I could say it's definitely my favorite song off the album. I love the overall lyrics, I love the overall melodic elements you are getting, and this overall enhances the listener's experience of what is happening. And you can tell throughout Break the Silence, the man that is stuck in Mercy Falls starts to realize what is actually happening. Starts to realize that maybe it's his mother from the other side. Maybe it's his mother that he's getting to know again. The lyrics overall has a strong evidence of what is happening within Mercy Falls. Probably overall how they meet as well during the preparations of the storm, as they're getting ready for that big storm that is occurring. But the wife also explains the real life situation here. I really love the song. Break the Silence is fantastic. Regardless of what the song is actually about, it's just brilliant. The overall build up of the song, Tommy's vocals are fantastic as well. So the song leads on to Hide and Seek, and this is when he realizes that it's his mother that he's talking to. Somehow sees himself as the old lady, and I love that sort of perception of things. The lyrics are really strong. Love the overall story of what is happening within Mercy Falls. Some really nice guitar moments throughout this song. Some really nice bass moments, but the drums are really awesome as well. Nice time signatures. Really love the proggy elements. And again, Tommy's vocals are really soaring high throughout this album, which really balances the situation of the actual song itself. And then it leads on to Destiny Calls, which is probably my second favorite song off the album. And I really love this song for what it is. Lyrically, it's really interesting. Definitely talking about the childhood and how things were meant to be, and I love that. And he's getting that epiphany through his comatose state at Mercy Falls. Trying to figure out whether Mercy Falls is actually the hospital he is in or is actually the town he created. I'm not too sure. Is Mercy Falls actually a real town or not? I'm not too sure, but you get another guitar solo, really nice build up as well, and really nice transitions. Leads on to One Last Goodbye, And this is when the doctor says to the wife that the bone marrow didn't work, and this is when she eventually pulls the plug. And I really love the emotional elements, the emotional grandeur of things you're getting throughout this song, and Tommy's vocals are again fantastic. It's a really slow moving song, but it really works, especially throughout the themes of this album. I love it.
We have made a tragic decision, 'cause your wounds won't heal it.
And then it moves on to the ECG monitor going beep, beep, beep. And then she pulls the plug from the life support and everything shuts down.
Memory will remain.
He goes through, I think he actually dies. This is when he dies. He tries to leave Mercy Falls, but he dies. And he sees eternal darkness. But before he discovers that, before he soons to realize that he is dying, he sees the actual truth, where the wife is actually the cause of the car accident, because she says to him that, you know what, he's not your son, and I'm having an affair, and this is what causes the accident. So she's a stuck-up bitch for sure. She's none other than an evil bitch. It leads on to Black Parade, and I love it. And overall, it's the moral of the story.
When time runs out, all your fears will be in vain. Love the ocean, the sun, and the rain.
Really love Tommy's vocals throughout this song. Quite emotional as well, but yet dynamic. And I love the overall guitar solos. Throughout this song as well. But overall, this album is quite beautiful, it's blissful, but yet quite violent as well, especially throughout One Last Goodbye, once you know the actual concept of the story. Look, it took me a long time to actually really understand what the story is about. Not too sure if I got the story completely yet. But yeah, I feel like the old woman is actually his mother. At times, this album is headbanging. I love the stylistic approach you're getting throughout this album. Overall, Seventh Wonder, Mercy Falls is a really feel-good album as well. Like I said, it took me a while to get it sonically. Finally kicks on me probably the 7th listen. I had trouble enjoying this album at first. And I gotta be brutally honest with you. The more I listened to it, the more I started to appreciate this album. And to be honest, I don't know what score I'm going to give it yet, because every time I listen to this album, I always experience something different. Always find a different interpretation of the actual story. So I really love the overall concept. I really love the overall story. I really love the overall concept of this song. I really love the overall concept of this album. His vocals are so passionate throughout this album. This is a sublime album, it is. And I don't know what I actually give it. But at this current stage, I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10, because this is close to a masterpiece. It is. It took me a while to get it, but I finally got it. And every time I listen to it, I fucking love it. It's up there with Operation Mindcrime by Queensryche. Story Rise, it is harder to understand. It's not as easy to understand like Metropolis Part 2 Scenes from Memory. There's so much treasure hunting within this album. I know I'm going to listen to this many other times to understand what the real deep concept of the story is. But I love the moral of the story as well. Guys, comment below what you thought about this album review. Comment below what you thought about this concept. Describe your interpretation of the story as well. Like, no one is wrong. The only people that would know the actual concept of the story would be Seventh Wonder themselves. Subscribe if you want, drop a like, and I will see you in the next one.